Welcome to the Nerd Party.
I'm Darren Moser.
I'm Philip Gilfus.
I'm Daniel Prue.
And this is City Alpha 3.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to City Alpha 3, a Star Trek podcast here on the Nerd Party. I'm your host, Daniel Prue, and joining me, as always, are my good buddies, my good late buddies, Darren and Philip. Hey, guys, how you doing?
I was on time.
Well, no, I
didn't die. Just, to...
Well,
I don't keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
If you did, you put your Katra somewhere safe because you're here with us today. So how's it going, Darren? How's your last little while been?
Good. I don't remember if I spoke about it last time, but I got to see, I'll talk about it again, but I got to see the original Enterprise filming model in DC, which was always cool. Got there right before the top of the hour, which is when they fire it up. For conservation purposes, they only turn it on for like 5 minutes I think it was like every 15 or every 30 minutes or something like that. So I could live with that. And there was quite a bit of sci-fi stuff actually in DC because they also had the mothership from Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which was really cool to see. So, yeah, all that real space stuff kind of paled in comparison with the an X-Wing hanging from the ceiling, know. But that was really cool. I mean, it made me, like, I know the qualities of cameras and stuff back then, but it made me wish that we got a little bit closer shots at the time because I'm like, this model's pretty big. And I always felt like, they were shooting it, with a long lens from 20 feet away, but, we got what we got.
You mentioned model, and I just want to bring up the fact that I assume it went through, but I saw that the Deep Space Nine model was put up for auction, so you could buy the screen used model.
I know. I was very surprised by that because for some reason I always assumed it was tucked away safely somewhere, but I'm like, oh, it's being auctioned.
Yeah,
and that sucker's huge.
Yeah, I don't know if it went live or whatever, but I'm sure somebody will snag it.
And it was for only like $35,000. It wasn't like a crazy number you would think.
Yeah, is that what you told your wife?
Yeah.
College fun, schmollage fun.
They can eat at the promenade. Yeah. What is the problem? I don't understand. Yeah.
It's okay. Our entire dining room will be, set for this. We'll paint the wormhole on the wall. And I mean, an awesome piece of history, but yeah, it just comes down to where would you put it? Because the thing is just massive, but
mostly empty space though. So it doesn't really take up that much space, honestly.
Well, it's kind of like, a child with their arms out, like it's, you have to fit the outer ring and then everything else is just, It's like, by volume, it's not a lot of stuff, but it is making itself as big as possible in that volume.
Hey, Philip, how are you? How are things going across the pond?
Yeah, nothing too crazy. I'm in the, I want to say middle of season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation. And so it's been going well. I know last time we had spoken, I remember talking with Darren. Season 2 does, I mean, not that it's like a garbage fire, but season 2 does not start off well. Like, it's very slow. I mean, not like, oh, it's bad per se, but it's just very slow. And then the first couple episodes are very like season 1-y. And I'm during that beginning, I'm kind of like, I almost prefer season 1 at this point. But then it starts hitting those big episodes like Measure of a Man, Matter of Honor with Riker going on the Klingon ship. And then, so it's very like way up here or not bad, but just like nothing. Because like I just watched, Samaritan Snare. I think that was it. Where it's like the Geordi and the Pakleds, but the other storyline is Picard getting his heart fixed with Wesley. But like, so you have an A and B, but they're both just nothing. Because like, it's like they go in a shuttle, Wesley Picard talk. They
have
there.
sandwiches.
Picard, the sandwiches. Picard has an issue during the surgery, and Pulaski shows up. That's that whole plot. And then Geordi goes over there. They help. The Packlids are being creepy weirdos. They phaser him a couple times, and then they fix it, and then LaForge beams over the end. Like, it's just a nothing episode. And so that's been half of season 2. Then the other half is like Q-Who and the Borg. And so it's very black and white.
Yeah. The highs are higher than season 1, I imagine, right? Because season 1 doesn't have the data episode or anything like that. But
Data lore.
Well, yeah. That's not on the same level, but nice. Okay, cool. Guys, let's, I was thinking about what we should talk about today. And I have some ideas in my head about how I want to structure this, but I think it's probably better if we talk it out because I want to see how you guys would do this. We know that the current state of Trek is, what's the best way to put it? Let's say uncertain, not on solid ground, perhaps, where we would like it to be. But I want to talk about, my original pitch was going to be like making a 10 commandments for like the next era of Star Trek. Like we would sort of forge the rules and how things would go going forward. I don't think that's as good as what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if we were put in charge of Star Trek right now, like Paramount gets bought out or whatever happens and the cards fall where they may. Now we are now in charge of what would become Star Trek 3.0, right? Or 4.0, I guess, depending on how you really divvied it up. But moving forward from henceforth, from this point, how would we structure it? What would we like to see? And what would we do? Like, right? So, like, if we look at what happened in 2016, when Kurtzman became, and everything since then has sort of been under his eye. If we were given that sort of power, where would we go with it? How would we do it? How would we structure it? Because, in hindsight, he probably did a lot of things that we might have said that we would have done then. And then we see now how it kind of turned out. Maybe we don't like it. Maybe we still do. I don't know. But I just thought if we could control, if we had our hand on the helm. Right?
First action is, we said it was the final season of Lower Decks. Just kidding. That show is still going strong. How could you put an end date on comedy? So instant unfinalization of Lower. I don't care if they have to rewrite half the season to unwrap it up.
Unwrap it up.
It was a dream. That season 5 was a dream. Season 6.
I want their opener to be like, I thought we were done. I thought the Cerritos had crashed and it was all over. It's like, nope. Here we go. Mission number 4. Here, keep going.
Well, Daniel will appreciate it. Instead of gas leak year, it can be like plasma leak year or something.
See, this is why I was going to ask, because to me it makes way more sense as an exercise, as a thought exercise, to break cleanly from everything. So not to continue, like even Strange New Worlds, we don't touch. That's over at this point. We can't bring back. Of course,
you're doing the burn strategy.
well, we will be ignoring the burn. I promise you that. That'll be number 1 rule. No, I kid. But that's why I was bringing it up, just because to me that makes more sense. But if Darren, you do like you are like, that's exactly what I would do. That would be my number 1 priority.
I could be persuaded to discontinue Strange New Worlds. I think in my mind, I kind of go from a place of that show and Lower Decks are like the 2 strongest shows. So if you don't have to cancel them, there's plenty of other budget to slosh around in this imaginary scenario.
Yeah.
So I would keep them both going to kind of keep the goodwill, as it were. Like, again, it's our experiment. We could do whatever we want. But I would also love watching more Lower Decks. I don't think it should be wrapped up right now. I don't see the reason for it, except for I don't know. I don't know why they decided to stop it.
I mean, my selfish pitch would be one more Prodigy season, and only because I mean, fair, right? Nothing's fair. It's an industry, and nothing's fair in industries. But like, they didn't know because it was like they were like, season 2's done, and then like, oh, it's canceled. And you're like, okay, well, we would have. So it's like I want them to make. I mean, Discovery had the same issue, but it's
maybe a movie, now. 2 seasons in a movie, to wrap
or
it
something.
up.
Yeah, I mean, I would actually, look, they want to do these TV movies now. Maybe that's the new way to go. But yeah, because I love Prodigy, big Prodigy, and I don't know if everyone as much as me. But I would love them to be able to end that how they want to, because they didn't get to end it how they want to. It wasn't even Discovery where like midway through, by the way, it's canceled. They got it's done and then it's canceled, and that's unsatisfying. So I would at least I would for a whole season, but even if you want to go TV movie, I can do it. But so Daniel, this may be a compromise of like landing everything. Look, Star Trek, who's in charge, right? They love things landing. So the plot lines are landing will be our new phrase. And so Lower Decks, God, it's such a great show and it can go forever, but I mean, whatever. But I still think you should do like 7 seasons just from a fan standpoint. Just do 7, right? We all agree 7, right? I would give Prodigy something. I would prefer a whole season. If you want to do a TV, that's fine. And then Strange New Worlds, I agree, is Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. I think with Strange New Worlds, part of me, and this is like a fan thing, is scared of how long it will go on. Because it's like, at some point, guys, it's got to end. Like, we can't not ever get to the Kirk era, like...
Well, or are you afraid that they will get to the Kirk era? Yeah. And this will all of a sudden become like year 1 of Kirk's Enterprise? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying it could happen. Yeah,
I'm not necessarily either. And again, this is a Philip thing. Everyone else may not give a whatever about it, but it's like they're convoluting the canon up so much. I don't like at a certain point, guys, you're messing too much. I don't trust that I can watch TOS anymore after watching Strange New Worlds because it won't make sense anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. You can't gel those two.
Remember when Kirk was on the Enterprise for like 5 years before taking command? Remember that? No? Okay.
This is what we talked about. That one episode where Kirk fell in love with Uhura, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't. Even though he doesn't remember it or whatever by the end of the episode, I couldn't. I just couldn't do it anymore. But okay, fine. You twisted my arms. I'll say this. I'll say we can provide an additional ending or some sort of closure for those 3 properties. By
a closure for Lower Decks, 3 more seasons. But
yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing, and that's where I'm like. I do also like Lower Decks quite a bit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm finer, in my opinion, I'm finer wrapping up Strange New Worlds sooner. Like, for me, I get that. I see no reason to stop Lower Decks just because it doesn't interfere with anything. It's still a great show. It's 10-episode chunks. Like, it's been consistently good.
Yeah, because I mean, it has. My concern, my thing is like, let a thing die when it's on top, right? So we can drag it out, sure.
You're not wrong. Take the Home Improvement or Seinfeld route and just be like, we want to end while everyone loves it, rather than it was great until that last season. Boy, they shouldn't have let it go that long, which you never know until you do.
The full Lieutenant season, well, not good on Lower Decks.
For all we know, this could be not a great season. We don't know. It could.
We know it will be a good season. We can.
We know. We don't know. And the other thing I was going to say about it was just that. We can Futurama it, right? Like we don't have to bring it back for a full season or whatever, but
spin it back up.
We can easily, yeah. It's a thing that you can just bring back in maybe for an episode or 2 or whatever, like a special every couple of years or something like that.
They did a crossover special with Strange New Worlds and it worked, which is amazing.
I don't know. I'd have to Google their ages. I was going to say it's a young cast. That's not true. They're probably older than I think they are. But that's to say, I mean, they could like step away and come back in 5 years and would probably still sound the same. So it's not like that's an issue,
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They're not. I don't think they're super young, but okay. Well, let's just say that for Darren's sake, that we will not destroy the possibility of future adventures on the Cerritos. And for Philip, we'll do at least a closing movie for Prodigy. so they can at least wrap everything up that they wanted to touch on. And it could be a 2-parter, like real long episode or movie or whatever. And then Strange New Worlds will just say ends at the next season. And that way we'll have sort of a clean break into whatever the next phase of Star Trek.
Now, Daniel, we do have these 2 things on the shelf. I don't know what you want to do with them. It's labeled Academy and Section
we're just not
31.
touching. We're not touching.
Okay.
Let's just say, because they're not like, well, you can't. Section 31 doesn't count. Fine, release it. Who cares? Nobody. It's not going to affect anything.
I'm fine not releasing it. I'm fine not releasing it. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say it's easy to cut the Academy movie. I don't think it's filming yet, right? I don't think.
And or maybe it is
because we know the
Office. Whatever.
Yeah. Either way, doesn't matter. Let's just say we cut it.
No,
Section 31 comes out. It makes no difference to us because we're not going to include it either way in what we do going forward. I think I can speak for everybody pretty comfortably there. But yeah, so what would we now do as our introduction, our new Star Trek, our new phase? Maybe correction.
Star Trek Phase 2? Does that sound like a good name?
An Enterprise or?
Well, I guess here's the question, and I realize this is fantasy, so we can do whatever we want. But I guess in our fantasy world we're creating, what's our platform? I mean, we had syndicated TV, we had network or tertiary network TV, then we had streaming on Paramount Plus, and now we're in this kind of weird era of like some stuff's on Netflix, and who knows where it is. So I guess where is our Star Trek going to be? Is it on streaming?
All right. For my vote is
hologram.
We produce Star Trek for syndication on television, and we sell the streaming rights to another platform. So we just make that sweet, sweet money, and we're financially stable. I think that's what we should do.
Okay. I like the idea that everything stays in one place, or everything actually goes to one place, I should say.
Well, it will.
We can't control that.
It will. But yeah,
it'll be available somewhere.
That's the thing, though. You
got a Roku stick, you'll find it.
I don't know if you remember this, Darren, but there was 1 week of time. Everything was on Paramount Plus.
The home of Star Trek?
I remember
the
home
of Star Trek, where you could find everything Star Trek related. Listen, I'm not saying we need to make a custom, I wouldn't want
like a Pluto channel that just has Star Trek on it.
No, I don't want to do that. Fine, give it all to Netflix. That's fine. But let
if they want it,
Showtime.
they just got to pay for it. And
exactly.
Then,
yeah. But it's a all inclusive package. If you're paying for Deep Space Nine rights, you're getting everything. That's just how it is. That way everybody can just for simplicity's sake. I know
it's
this
a bundle. All Star Trek options come as a bundle. You buy one, you buy them all.
Yeah. That's what I think.
I would say also in that bundle, because that's a hefty fee, is let Netflix make something. Give them a license and say, hey, you got to run it by us, but, make your own show. One show. You get one show that you can, made by Netflix or whatever label they slap on it.
It'd be fun. Yeah. I think Netflix could do something cool.
I like the way you said it, though. In my mind, it was much more aggressive. All right, Netflix, you do it. Let me see your Star Trek.
You want this? You want this bag of amazingness? Fine, but you got to add to it.
I mean, you canceled Chaos after one season. Ugh. All right, whatever. Let me see what you do.
Well, so that's the thing, because we know Netflix's ways, right? We're all familiar with how they handle their
2-3 seasons most, and then it's gone.
Yeah. And so we'll just say, give them sort of the original idea for Discovery, where it was going to be an anthology show, and maybe Netflix can do something fun with that. And then if
Discovery
it cuts
meant to be an anthology? I barely remember that. I think you're right, but
it depends, Darren, in what universe you live in.
Yeah.
If you live in the Brian Fuller universe of 2 weeks. Yes.
Well, to be fair, he started. I agree with you, Philip, and I understand what you're saying. But he was the guy for a time.
I think that's the other key aspect of this is that we also need to make sure that the three of us are in charge of the story for 20 years by default. Because, and I'm joking, but I'm half serious. The fact that I think one of the hardest things about any franchise nowadays, I'm looking at you, Star Wars, is not having someone at the helm executing their vision on the long term.
Like
and
a
that's
Feige.
where like a Feige or, what's it? Like a Filoni, someone to, because otherwise you get like what happened with Brian Fuller, where it was like great concept and then it just, the bottom dropped out. And not that we didn't enjoy parts of what we got, but just I want it to all be the same.
I feel like the better example, I mean, not that that's not a good example, but to me, a more prominent example is Picard, because it had 3 showrunners for 3 seasons. Am I right? And I mean, people love every bit of Picard. That's fine, but that's to your point, Darren. Like, that's not good. You should have at least for a show. Like, we could talk about the franchise, but like for a show, let's at least have 1 or 2 voices. They could be co-showrunners. I don't care how they do it.
That's true. I guess I'll say that for the show. That makes sense. I mean, it's not. If we were doing movies, then yes, it would need to be on a grander scale, because you can't have like, and those 2 movies made sense together, but then that third one, all the writers changed, and that happens.
Because why do I keep forgetting his name? Who runs Star Trek now?
Kurtzman?
Kurtzman, yeah.
For some reason, his name keeps coming out of my brain. I'm like the JJ guy. But anyway, like, I'm curious, and I don't know the answer. I'm curious how much Kurtzman has influence over everything. Like, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm just like, as a writer, which is his background. I mean, he's a big guy now, but like, as a writer background, like, how much is he touching each series, or is he just more of a like? Because like, I get Star Wars with I don't know if it's true, but like, it used to be true, like just a couple of years ago, like they would at least be looking at everything before it went out, like to make sure it got the flavor of like the different directors. You'd still have, why am I forgetting everyone's name? Not Fiona, the other guy that was running Star Wars, Marvel guy, Happy.
Yes.
No, I can't think of his name.
John Favreau.
Thank you. I mean, I got the thing, even if you didn't
all
like
F's.
it or not.
It has to be an F name, because
Favreau was at least had a bunch of directors, but he was still, touching everything before it went out. Same thing with Feige, with Marvel. But anyway, which again, you may like them or not, but at least you're trying to get everything on the same mosaic, even though it may look different. And so I don't know if that's what Kurtzman does. He may very well do, but it seems to me very independent fiefdoms, of where he like picks the people and you go do your thing and we'll make it work. But
in an interview with someone, or I just read not too long ago, he said that Kurtzman said that we're going to get an answer to the floating nacelles in the Starfleet Academy show. So if that goes to just sort of give an example of how much he may or may not have influence, he may not be involved in that at all. He just might know it. But he said, and he's least aware of, down to those kinds of details.
Yeah, I think we wanted that in the second episode after we saw the floating nacelles, but
yeah, it's a little too late. Well, here's the thing: he's fired in our scenario, so we don't really have to worry about him.
He retires comfortably.
Right.
He's fine. I'm not no ill will towards whatever. He can do what he wants.
Lives on Ryza on farm. He's totally happy.
He'll be fine.
So are we spinning up the movie generator again, or are we focusing just on shows? What are some of your guys' ideas? I'm curious.
Well, that's my first thought. Feel free to shut it down.
I'm shutting it down.
To use, for one thing, Star Trek movies can no longer be billed as a box office, a big movie, blockbuster. I don't know why I couldn't say that word. It's a blockbuster. They're not going to be blockbusters. They're not that kind of movie. Star Trek is going to be mid-tier movies. That's because of the expectations are not going to be up here. They're going to be over here.
They're not going to make $1 billion.
No,
they're just not.
They're never going to, and there's the reason to expect, and that's fine. We have a more niche audience. I mean, we can try to do a Star Trek 4 or even a First Contact. I don't know the numbers. I'm just making that up. That's a general audience. But we have a niche audience, and so it's going to be lower budget slightly, but it's also going to be lower expectations. So I think we have to feel comfortable with that, which I don't think anyone necessarily has a problem with. But I think that's just where we want to put ourselves in lower expectations. All that said, my first instinct is to play movies with current properties, which I know sounds dumb, like, or perhaps obvious, but I'm not trying to spin any new series or new things. Like, you want a Discovery movie? I'm not saying I'm pitching that, but like, we can do, like, our movies would be for existing properties, and then TV is going to be new stuff. That's my initial pitch.
It's not, you're not going to introduce the new TV show with a movie. You know, it's just going to be like, oh, you really liked, Strange New Worlds. They get a movie to cap off their show or something.
See, I agree with that. Oh, I would honestly just say probably just avoid movies, especially in the beginning at all. But
legitimate.
But on the other hand of that, I really loved the two-parter that opens Battlestar, and I would love for it to be an event of a new thing. Like, if you're, and I guess probably Discovery was sort of meant to be that sort of thing as well. Just maybe not as effective as because Battlestar was amazing, right? Like that whole miniseries they had was just incredible. But that level of like that quality and that impactfulness.
So step one, bring in Ronald D. Moore.
That is step one. That's absolutely true. Yeah, definitely bring back some of the big heavy guys. But so I'm thinking, I agree. I think maybe try to avoid movies, especially in the beginning, and then just make some really, really cool stuff that could be movie-like events, that sort of stuff. That's where my brain goes anyway.
Now, I would say, on the TV aspect, are we putting in place no prequels?
Well, because of the nature of, I feel like I'm doing a very... because of the nature of Star Trek now, what do you mean by prequels? In the old days, I would know what you mean, but we got the 32nd century, buddy.
No,
so.
You're right. I would say then I'll put it this way: if we're having multiple shows, one show is going to be present day. That might be like Picard era or whatever we decide, and then anything before that would be a prequel, meaning it's inserted in between pre-existing shows. Like if we wanted like if we had
that's what I refer to as 23rd, 24th century,
right? Like
Roddenberry, Berman, I call it legacy
the Berman era, yeah. Like if you
other than Enterprise,
like part of me was thinking what if we did a Enterprise B show, but it was a bubble show, like it's off exploring the Beta Quadrant, but they're not stuck like in Voyager, but they are not going to interact with the Federation nearly as much. So it's like we're just filling out that chapter of the Enterprise lineage. We could call it Star Trek Enterprise or something like that, but
no, we can't call it that.
B.
Yeah, just B.
Enterprise. Yeah.
So again, I'm not opposed to that. Like I kind of like that idea, but if we were going to say no inserting prequel shows in between, but I think it could be done, but it has to be done well.
I'm on board now because look, what do you call the movie that came out in 2009?
2009. Well, it is called Star Trek.
It's called Star Trek, though. So Darren, we're calling it Star Trek Enterprise, and then be like, and it's going to be the 2025. You mean the 2025 series?
I wouldn't do that to people. I wouldn't do that to people. That's terrible to give them it's like just give it an actual name.
What do you call the animated series? It's called Star Trek, Darren. That's the name that it's called.
You're not wrong.
I would say again. And this is just for the initial go of it, because we'll definitely want to do stuff like that later on. But at least for the first show, the beginning of the first year, whatever limit we want to put on it, it is all like you said, Darren, establishing a sort of new baseline, like a new level of
a new current era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it wouldn't. I'm not ruling out the possibility forever, though. I am hesitant to do it at any point. But that's just personal preference. I would say initially we look forward and we move forward. I think that's probably for the best.
Because I think the Star Trek Enterprise could sort of be our generic, and I don't mean this in a bad way, our generic Star Trek show. It's a starship exploring space.
Right. It's the TNG formula. It's going to be, a little more long form story because that's just the way things go. But Yeah,
it's going to be 15 episodes.
Oh, so many.
We
so
can
many.
do whatever we want here, guys.
Well, because with the I don't know why I call it the Benterprise, but with Benterprise, I'm going straight like slightly updated Monster Maroons. Like I want it to.
Do you want the
look
Strange
like,
New Worlds one?
Yeah, do the Strange New Worlds one. Where it's enough where that it's very obvious this is an era. It's connected to a beloved era, but it's enough where. Yeah, I think it could happen where you have this, like I say, it's a bubble show where it is separate enough from the main timeline that it's not alternate universe, it's not that far out, but enough where it could tell stories, and it's telling like the smaller stories of first contacts and saving planets and charting gaseous anomalies. We'll make it fun somehow, but I giving it that day to day of like actually how we wish a starship was run. We're like, oh look, actual department heads that meet with their departments. Actual discussion.
That's why we need the 15 episodes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Too bad they're all going to die, which is kind of sad. But
give us we don't know that. Yeah. Give us a cool crew. All we have to establish for sure is Captain Hartman and maybe Sulu at the helm. Harriman, but everyone else could be whoever. There is no known, at least what's been seen on screen.
Well, here's the thing, Darren, and I'm not advocating this, but I'm
a beautiful Excelsior class starship, guys. I mean,
but the option is we could have a whole new crew. Like this could be, year 5 of the Enterprise B and new captain. There's no, I mean, I think, and this is my opinion, Strange New Worlds definitely leans into like, hey, recognize these names, and this would be like, no, you will not recognize any of these names. This is a whole new crew. Which I know from a commercial standpoint, again, commercial, you want to have like, no, this is familiar and this is familiar and this is familiar for you. But is this going to be like, not really. It's the Enterprise B.
Well, I mean, I see what you're saying, but there's a part of me that's like the familiarity of that captain versus like, oh, Spock is in this season are very different levels of.
I'm just saying,
like,
I don't know if people are
interwoven.
clamming for Harriman. Like, my favorite Enterprise captain is.
And I get that. I think, that's what I'm saying.
Not
It's
yet.
like, we don't know anything about that. It's just like, when they name dropped Rachel Garrett. It's like,
now.
it's enough of a connection. The first episode, they go through a temporal anomaly and he ages. And now he's like Alan Ruck still, but he's really old.
With a
I'm not
beard,
kidding. We don't do that.
okay. Well, that's an idea.
I can see where like you could play because, and I'm not saying we have to go with this, but in the Novelverse, Captain Harriman got his job because his dad's an admiral. You could have Ruck in the first episode play Admiral Daddy, and so it's recognizing that character. And you obviously recast Harriman, but you have that's kind of anyway. I was just a thought. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that is an idea.
Moving on beyond Benterprise. So.
Yes. But so that would be our second show. Our first show is going to be Picard or early 25th century.
Pitch it, Daniel. Pitch it.
Yeah. What's your idea?
I don't know. Yeah, this is a collaborative thing because I don't know the best way to move forward. Like, how big of a leap do we want from what we now know as, I guess, what we would call current?
As part of the creative, Daniel, this is my. I don't know if you can get this off the top of your head, but that's what we're going to be doing here. How can we integrate? Again, doing my TED Talk hands. How can we integrate gaming into Trek? Because in my mind, I'm almost picturing.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. What's gaming?
Right? so like you have, I know Star Trek Online and blah blah blah, but I'm almost thinking like, not that I'm an expert at any means. I'm almost thinking Fortnite-ish, where like you have live stuff, like literally playing things, like in that game. And I realize this might be going too far, but is there something almost where you could have a gaming universe that sort of almost progresses week to week with the storyline, whether it's the show is in the gaming?
So you make
Or separate.
you make events, events that occur.
Yeah. I see now what you're saying. As sort of a tie-in kind of a thing. Yeah. So there've been plenty of instances where they've tried to do stuff like this.
Hold it.
No. There was a this was probably 15 years ago now. Well, not that long, 10 years ago now. But there was an MMO that came out with a show, and you had to play both the game and watch both the show, and it was really weird. It was a massive failure.
You don't want to give your audience homework, so you got to be careful of that. But
I don't know. To answer your question, I don't know that there's a good way to do it. Not at that level.
This is me what are the kids doing? Because this is what is the new generation? How are they? Because again, not to make fun of this, because I'm not making fun of this, but if it is a TikTok generation where things do, and I'm not saying they don't have long attention spans, whatever. That's stupid to say that, but at least that's where media consumption is. So I'm trying to picture something that's kind of really left field of.
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how that would interact with an actual traditional television show in any meaningful way. But it is a good idea, sort of staying on the front of that sort of stuff. Could be cool and hip, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, no old people say those words, so I know what I'm talking about. So, because
and again, not virtual. No, I don't know where we're going to go, but because I'm trying to think of what it would be sort of a new experience, whether it's VR, whether it's just MMO, or whether it's something that really integrates something new Star Trek. Unless we just buy Star Trek Online and really blow it up. I don't know.
I would say if you're going that direction of trying to quote unquote, bring in the cool kids.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely what Star Trek is known for, by the way. That's just historically just right on target. So
I would say loosen up on just letting creators do things. Meaning if people want to make set some outlines, but if people want to make their own TikTok series about a crewman, do that with your blessing. And so it's kind of the whole throw things at the wall and see if they stick, but you're not actually, paying for it. You're just letting others, again, give it some sort of boundary. But
I like it. I like it.
Because a lot of creativity is coming out of people who do these little shorts because they love Star Trek. So give them a little bit of the reins and it's not like anything they're doing is affecting your show alpha, your main show. But honestly, I think you want to create that buzz of people interested in Star Trek. And I think that would be an amazing way to tie people in.
This will sound ridiculous, but this is just off the top of dome, where we put out a very, like you're saying, Darren, a very general outline. I'm not talking about the requirements, although that too. There's going to be required, but a general whatever, you can make it up. 25th century, it's a starbase. Here's 5 characters. Here's what they are. Or, we give something, and then throw it out to the community. And then the show is almost like I've never seen it in total, but Will Wheaton's show. And so you have a host who then goes to all right, these are the first 20, because obviously we'd filter it, but here's the first 20 submissions we've gotten, and you would play them. And then it almost turns into a reality show where people can then vote on their favorites.
It's kind of like Star Wars did it with a fan film format, and it's very similar to that, where they gave out rules and time limits, and then they had a whole process.
Because then I could see, and I don't know, it depends on the creator's turnaround, where you would have here's the favorites, and then when you've narrowed down, and I'm making these up more arbitrarily, 20 to 10, and you say, all right, well, these creators now have to come up next week with a new episode or new whatever. And so then you'll have a new 10. We could play it a bunch of ways, but that could be the whole season, whether you're doing you could filter it down to this many and then do another series where you're filtering down to this many, 2 tournament style. And then you have this fun, and then because you're also developing stories at the same time, it's almost a reality show competition. But you're sort of allowing fan participation I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be like our main project, but it'd be like our third one of like opening it this world.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. Either, like you said, like a contest, or even just something that's more organic, where we're not pitting them against each other. It's just, take this ball and go play with it, and then we'll see what awesome stuff. And maybe the prize, quote unquote, is if we really, really like the idea, because it's still our IP, we can say, hey, come on, and we'll give you this, role of, some sort of role we create, like a writing role or a, junior executive, whatever we want to call it. But like if we choose one of those to actually become more of a thing, then we just bring them along for the ride. Yeah. Another show idea, because we're elevated, we're turbolift pitching.
Yeah,
we got our turbolift pitches. I think, set in our current era, I would like to do a Starfleet Corps of Engineer show. So they have a ship, it's a barge, it's not a pretty ship. It's very much for building things, but it could be a great show about all sorts of, really get to know these characters, these crew. And then as you go all around the galaxy, like doing different things, like, oh, we need to stabilize this, or, oh, this power system's offline, and just another way to see the galaxy than than the flagship of the fleet, and I think that could be really fun.
I'm picturing, for no reason at all, an A-team, sort of like
it is.
You can find the Corps of Engineers.
Yeah,
if you have their hailing frequency, they will find you.
They can help
you.
Yeah. Like after a battle, they're pulling up, and they're the ones to like collect all the loose nacelles that drifted off, and they got to be reattached to their ships.
Run board, clean up battle duty again.
Or again, like going to Ryza and fixing their weather net.
After terrorists destroyed it, Worf.
Yeah.
Weather control system. Yeah.
But I just something again. It's my idea for getting around and seeing the galaxy, but not like it's not going to be the same kind of stories of, well, we're on a diplomatic mission. Like, no, there's no diplomatic missions. We're getting it done. If they're like, oh, hey, this new colony what's Bolian's planet? Is it just
Bolarus?
Bolarus. Bolarus has there's a massive tectonic shift that's happening. We have to go stabilize that. So they do, and we get to invent cool technology and, whatever.
Star Trek,
but
grease monkeys.
Exactly. But on a galactic scale versus a starship scale, they're not trying to fix, and again, they're still trying to fix their own ship, because I'm sure it's, been modified heavily. You put a crew of engineers on, and it's going to be stripped down,
they have special dispensation.
So overpowered, it's going to tear itself apart. I
like that idea. That'd be fun. That'd be cool.
See, now I'm picturing like what because it would have to be. I think my pitch would be, and then you could change it. Would be like a ship that we know, a class of ship that we know, but it's been whatever. So either it's an Excelsior. Well, we have the Enterprise, can't do that. So whether it's like
an Obrith or
oh gosh, yes, an Obrith. But
I'm kind of leaning towards Obrith, but yeah,
it's basically they pimped their ride of the Obrith.
Yeah.
18 to 6.
Yeah, maybe the that pod underneath is swapped out and like to be whatever it needs to be. Like they have a base, a star base that they go.
It's where they keep all the spare parts.
Yeah, it's like the headquarters of the Corps of Engineers. Like, heck, I would see an episode of we're moving Starbase 1 to this other planet to turn it into the Fleet Museum. That would be awesome. I would watch a week of that show, just like how they did that. And, again, obviously it's not just the technical aspect, but we're seeing these characters and their relationships and their problems and, within a DS9 lens, I'll say, I don't want, insubordination or anything like that. But
I am picturing That ship belongs in the Fleet Museum.
But the Fleet Museum, Earth is, like the pilot is like Earth, space around Earth is getting crowded. What do we do? Well, if only we could just move. We can't move a starbase. So like that would be they're like, oh,
wait a minute.
Watch. I'll move
Who do we
that
know
starbase.
that's crazy enough to move a starbase?
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Starfleet Corps of Engineers.
I'm also thinking either as like a B plot or a team B or some sort of like
The B team. Okay.
some sort of like alternate, like maybe even like an episode, but it would be the people who do all the planet reshaping. What's it called? Terraforming. Yeah. So the terraforming crews would also be doing equally as impressive things that would be equally fun to learn about and watch.
Again, just have a little mini starbase that's like it's adjacent to the well, but it's where the mothball fleet is. Like you have where so you have these random. That's how you know they're there because there's like this gleaming, new little base in the middle, and then all these like dusty, floating junkyard decommissioned ships. So they're like, but part of it is Corps of Engineer, part of it is the terraforming, division. That'd be really cool. And then they're like the unspoken words, like you don't talk about Genesis. You can't talk about it.
I would just like the engineers don't consider the terraformers engineers, even though the terraformers consider themselves engineers.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, a ship? Wow, big deal. You put a part on. Have you ever tried to make life begin?
Yeah. I mean, I'm picturing the mess hall shenanigans, and they're ripe for potential in
the
this
blue
conflict.
shirts versus gold shirts. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very much like high school, like jocks and nerds of but they're all nerds, which is the
captain
part.
who's in charge of this ragtag, the only red shirt there is.
You know who would be? Jenkum Pog.
He's old enough now. Yeah.
But they've read a book series on the Corps of Engineers. There's been, and those were kind of cool because they used Scotty from his Relics time jump. So he was, thrown into the quote unquote Berman present time. So he was part of it. And they had a ship, I think actually it was a Galaxy class. It had a different name, but that was the main ship of this series, if I remember correctly. I don't know if we're going to go that big, but Obrith sounds more a fleet of Obrith ships.
My last pitch, because it's a swing and it's fan servicey. Because everything I've kind of played with, I've been like, let's not do a million things. But this one is 100% going to be a million things. Temporal. It's going to be a temporal ship from whatever. You give me whatever century you want.
Oh, the time ship Relativity.
Thank you. Yeah, whatever. Sure. Relativity A. No. But I mean,
Relativity -1.
Yeah.
It happened before Relativity, but
basically, it's going to be not an anthology show, but basically, it's going to be. It's not Quantum Leap, but it's like Quantum Leap Star Trek, where they're just going to every episode. Yeah, they're just going to be in a different Star Trek time. And it's just going to be, it's not 100% fan service, but like fan service in that respect. So it's like 23rd century or 24th century or, whatever. And
so is this going to be somebody's, is it basically going to be Time Cop? So like somebody's going to the past to like kill Kirk as an infant. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they like show up and they're like, no, we're going to stop you, and then, they restore the timeline, the sacred timeline.
Because if I'm allowed to go full, I would 100% want to do an TAS animated time, and it's an TAS animated.
This kind of would have to be an animated show. Like you could do more.
In some ways, I don't.
If it was animated,
I want to play with it depending on which timeline we're going.
Okay,
into.
It's 90% animated, but there's one where the universe they go to is real world, which makes no sense, but it's weird. Yeah. So,
I can go with it. Yeah. So yeah, that is my third. Because you could even go Discovery. You could the whole franchise is your plaything. And it could maybe just be one series or one season,
and use up some of the other voice actors or AKA actors while they're still around, to voice their roles.
Mm-hmm.
I could dig it. I think it definitely makes a lot more sense as an animated show if you're going to be jumping, into the past. And they're not messing anything up, Daniel, because they're purposely not messing things up. They're fixing it.
If what you're doing is making an entire series that has adventures exactly like Trouble with Tribbles, then that makes sense.
Kind of. Right? That's kind of what it is.
It would be, and that's why it's a limited series, because we're going to have to spend a lot of money. It's a limited
Department
series.
of Temporal
10
Investigations.
Episodes. But
that's the.
They just,
they actually have a ship and they actually go somewhere
on the whiteboard. They don't even have to be good episodes. You throw episodes on the whiteboard, and we're integrating our characters into each and every one.
Or you take ideas like that, and you take all the crazy outlandish ones that you want to do, and you definitely put them in a bucket. And what you do is you bring back what had the biggest potential in all of this new, what we are in right now, the Star Trek time that we have right now, and that they squandered almost immediately, which was short treks. And you redo short treks, and you can do all these really cool things in a shorthand format, like 20 minutes or whatever at the most, and you just do these. And you could do that once a season of short treks. You do one episode where it's time jumping, and that's what it is. And then we do all the other fun things that you want. It's exactly kind of what short treks was, just better, and actually maintain it. Not just give up on it after one or two times. Keep that.
I like that. Going. So bring short treks back. I mean, I feel like short treks kind of evolved into Lower Decks in a way. Like Lower Decks is very different, obviously, but the way that it references a lot of Star Trek, I think that aspect transferred over. But I love the idea of, here's a 20-minute episode about the Enterprise B getting lost in the nebula or whatever. You can do whatever you want and just have fun with it.
Really got Enterprise B on the brain, Hunter.
Okay. I already pitched. Benterprise is happening.
All right. We talked a lot about a lot of different things. And it was kind of all over the place. But is there anything else that you'd like? You'd be like, I am absolutely. This is happening, and
we're gonna slap it on lunch boxes and sell it,
sell it, until we know what we had. Did we come up with our current era main show, or I feel like
we could do a real quick rapid fire if you want.
Yeah, I didn't have a particular idea, but
it's going to be on a ship with a captain and a crew.
Right.
Does it have to?
It doesn't have to. I would think if we're trying to
space station where they don't go anywhere, but the adventure comes to them.
No. How about a star base?
I'm not opposed to other ideas, but we already.
How about Outpost? Make up a number. 47.
Got to go higher than 47.
Well, the at this point in time, the galaxy is pretty tame, pretty well explored. So I don't know what we're going to do.
Well, I don't worry that much about the exploration, because when I think of TNG, I don't feel like they encountered a bunch of cool stuff, but I don't feel like they were in Federation space most of the time. It didn't feel like they were out in the unexplored regions. And so I don't think that's necessarily needed for a Star Trek show to do well.
Honestly, I feel like, I'm not saying literally, but perhaps so. TOS, if you watch that, and this is me off the top of my head, probably 60% of those aliens have never been revisited.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same with TNG too, right? Honestly, it's the same probably with every. It's because the
Voyager, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we could definitely do all that sort of stuff. We talked about that, sort of having a whole second crew that just sort of goes around and visits
second
planets.
Contact.
Yeah, it does.
Lower Decks did it.
They discover Captain Kirk's originals log. And they're like, "What? There's an android planet? We gotta go check that out."
But to your point, what if not a ship that goes around and does things? Then what is it? And I'm fine with that. But what would be the thesis then of the show? If it's not going around and doing stuff, then what would we get instead?
Would we want a planet-based show? It's planet, station, or ship. That's the three I can think of. So
Energy.
Now, granted, you'd want to go up
It's my
into
favorite
a
game to play at a
spaceship.
sleepover planet station.
I mean, you have to have a ship because it's Star Trek, and Star Trek would be boring if it's like Earth-type planet for 5 weeks and we don't go anywhere and do anything.
We have shuttles. Shuttles out the wazoo, buddy.
I think it
Runabouts,
would be
bigger than shuttles.
I think you could still do that, and that'd be interesting. I don't know that would be interesting. The best place for like the anchor of the era, like the anchor of the network or whatever. You know what I mean? Like if we're doing an anchored Star Trek show, like this is, and then everything else could be something different. I feel like this. I don't know. That's just tradition, I guess, is what I would say. Is
Yeah, I mean, we could stick them all on the Enterprise G or whatever we want to do.
Let's just leave. You know what? I think I'm done with
We
Enterprise.
can't have Enterprise and Ginterprise on at the same time.
Let's make it a new ship. The something cool.
Titan.
Voyager
No.
G.
No, a new ship, brand new type of ship, a brand new name.
That's called the Titan. It was
Yeah,
it was a
we've
brand
used
new
all the
type of
names.
ship.
There's no more names.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what it'd be. God, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But
See.
Well, let's see. Just stick with other ships that we've had. I mean, you could do Endeavor.
sure, yeah,
So it was a
there you
space shuttle. It's got an interesting, it's got an enduring kind of quality to it. Like, hey, Star Trek's still going. Endeavor.
Columbia is an underused name.
go. Could you Columbia?
I mean, we had it in Enterprise, but still,
But again, yeah, that's the thing.
Atlantis is a little fantastical.
Stargatey.
Yeah, and that too. Star Trek Atlantis doesn't really. Your search query is going to ping off the wrong thing most of the time. But I like Endeavor. That could work. Just goes
The
to
only-
going through
my
the
only
shuttles.
bump
I do love calling it Starbase Atlantis, and then you're like,
No,
wait, is that? Do you mean Stargate Atlantis, or what would you say?
No.
It's Starbase Atlantis. Okay.
What was your concern, Daniel? That it's
My
too.
only concern is a very minor concern. It's not a big, real concern. But if I were like in charge and I was like, okay, I like the Endeavor as a name, but it's too close to Enterprise.
Oh,
they
because of the
they both
E.
start with E. We just
Yeah.
get more differentiation if we just started with something else. But like the Valley.
Farragut. It begins with an F. Everyone likes that. No, we're not going on the Farragut. I'm going on the Enterprise.
Or the the something that had the strong
Excalibur. Wait, it's another E.
Damn it.
All the good ones are taken.
Well, you know what? We'll pick this up another time. Maybe we'll do a whole thing where we make a show.
Crazy Horse. Can't see any downside of that name.
You can't say it, yeah.
The Agamemnon.
There you go. The lollipop. We'll give it a real ship this
There
time.
you go.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Darren, if people wanted to give you their good ship suggestion names, how would they find you?
They can go to One Up Dan at number one, not the word. No, they can go to drsci-fi.com, DRSCIFI.
And Philip, if people wanted to give you ideas about what the new uniforms would look like, and we're only picking one uniform and we're sticking with it, where would they find you?
Yes, that's one for one uniform. They can find me on Instagram at CAPTSFUFP.
And if you go to those places and you still want to talk to me, I'm no longer on the internet. Sorry. Well, that's it for this week. I'm Daniel Prue,
I'm Philip Gilfus.
And I'm Darren Moser.
stranded here because there is no ship on SETI Alpha 3.